I spent the last week watching every episode of the 7 Deadly Sins, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I still don't know how I feel about it. You know, to be real, it is not easy pulling a 3 to 4 page essay out of my ass every 5 days, and to be honest, this one kinda has me stumped. On one hand, you have an amazingly well animated show with a fascinating high fantasy world full of interesting characters, not to mention fantastic character design, looking like a mix of Toriyama and Shovel Knight. On top of all that, there is deep lore, and the fight scenes are to die for. I seriously think that when looking back on this show, people forget just how good the choreography and animation are when it comes to the battles, let alone how incredibly brutal they are. I mean, this is like heavy stuff. There's nothing like a cast of semi-immortal demigods to really let an artist go buck wild with the gruesomeness. But then you got
Sir Meliodas, 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 Sir Meliodas.
that. And the fan service! Have you ever seen such a fine cast of half-dressed circus freaks with just the nicest bouncing, jiggly, curvaceous pigs? But in all seriousness, I do like this show. I appreciate how its goofiness is juxtaposed by an underlying level of serious consideration of action versus consequence and the frailty of human hearts. This is a tale of ancient times, an era before the human and non-human worlds were forever divided. This is the 7 Deadly Sins. Let's get into it. Everyone, we are proud to announce that we are once again working with the prolific Figurama collectors who were cool enough to offer sponsorship for this video. This Monday, November 23rd at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard, Figurama collectors are opening pre-orders for their Bon vs. King statue. If you're a fan of the 7 Deadly Sins, this is an absolute must-have. Nobody makes statues like these guys, which is why we only work with them. The level of love and detail put into their work is beyond compare, and when I received my first piece from Figurama, I was blown away. I'm literally still too scared to touch it. It is the nicest thing in my house. Obviously, this new piece is no exception. Note, both Bon and King's portraits have been updated since this promo video was created, and the base is now slightly darker. But man, look at this thing. The color and detail are insane. You got little wanted posters, even Helbram's helmet made it in. To top it all off, the base of the Fountain of Youth has LED effects. Bon has a swappable arm, and both characters have swappable magnetic portraits. You can change their heads, dude. When we worked with Figurama before, the Kenshin piece sold out in less than 6 hours. Their most recent Made in Abyss piece sold out in less than 1 hour. The Bon vs. King statue is extremely limited. Only 777 pieces will be made. And yes, they did do that on purpose. So set an alarm and use the code BPOP7DS, that's all caps, to get $20 off your order. All links are in the description, and act fast. You won't be disappointed. That is a Bonsai Pop guarantee. Now, on with the show. Ladies, gents, gentle ladies and lady gents, we are smack in the middle of Shonenber, and the 7 Deadly Sins is indeed a shonen anime, as well as a Netflix original based off of the manga Nanatsu no Taizai, which ran in Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine. The manga actually wrapped up this year on May 15th and has been compiled into 41 tankobon volumes, so go tell your mom or something. As for the anime, we currently have 4 seasons out on Netflix, the second of which is kind of an interlude spanning only 4 episodes, but what we do have is interesting to say the least. 7DS is a story about a group of holy knights from Britannia when the nation was still cool and all fantasy-like before it got covered in smog and people who hate the Polish. It's not exactly Middle-earth, but we do got fairies, giants, demons, and of course humans. The Sins are comprised of Reverse Lolly, Bi-Curious Vegeta, Z-Cup Giant, Bedwetter, Redheaded Boy Who Makes Me Feel Things, Cam Girl, and Daddy. Led by Sir Meliodas, who is more or less Shin-chan with an anger problem, the group of knights were framed for the murder of the Grandmaster Knight and went into hiding 10 years before the start of the story or the series, whatever. However, they were brought back together slowly, one by one, by the biggest, Mary Sue, Elizabeth. Or so this all seems. The odd thing about the 7 Deadly Sins is how a really excellent story is covered up by the most tropiest icing you will ever see. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, look, we all like anime. Let's not pretend we're better than we are, okay? We like the tropes. We like the fan service. And I especially like Diane, and it is fine because she is well over 500 years old, okay? She is a whole lot of lady. Also, I don't know, but I might like Gowther too. I'm exploring that. It's new to me. I'm very confused. So what I What I mean by an excellent story is that Seven Deadly Sins has Shrek-like layers to it, and no, not like a cake donkey. Once you peel away the goof, you have 7 characters with individual personalities and complex backstories and relationships to one another. And just for some quick examples, Meliodas is actually a demon in disguise, but he's trying to leave his old past behind him, yet to continue to save the world and persevere, he keeps needing to unlock more and more of his demonic power and is afraid of losing who he is in the process and reverting to his old self. Or you got King Diane, who have been bonked on the head so many times they keep forgetting who they are and what they've done, meaning King left his people and sister to fend for themselves for 700 years and didn't even realize it'd been any time at all, so he's constantly warring with his inability to be who he's supposed to be, the king of the fairies. And that is just some of the main cast. There's plenty of other characters with just as much going on as the heroes that we're fixated on. And then you have the overarching conflict, which has been going on for well over 3,000 years, and that's your motherfucking onion, boy. So basically, demons bad, goddesses good, humans greedy and war hungry, religion used to incite conflict, but with anime twist. You get the picture. The sins are the good guys, the commandments, who come in much later, are the bad guys. You get this real good flip-flop of ideas and ideals, all centered around Meliodas, who's conflicted all the hell and back. It's very compelling, but it is also slow, and I think that's a bit of a problem. The first season, which is around 24 episodes, is by no means a slog, but it doesn't exactly expose what's to come in the future, so it's time to see if you are like me. Now, I watched this show when it came out, I enjoyed it, waited way too long for season 2, and then forgot about it when I found out season 2 was like 4 episodes. It was super annoying. And that was that, until deciding to do this video when I watched the rest and was pleasantly surprised that it just continued to get better and better. You see, everything and everyone in this series is mysterious. We get introduced to these characters with like unbelievable powers and aren't given a whole lot of context out of the gate. For instance, Bon is the fox sin of greed and he is immortal. He literally gets popped, squished, bisected, decapitated, and worse, only to simply come back like nothing happened. At first it's just like, oh, that's just the way he is. But slowly it gets doled out that he was raised in the medieval equivalent of Los Cabos, beaten, starved, and sleep deprived until he met a were-fox that took him under his wing. This man-fox guy taught Bon to steal, but was later forced to abandon him, barring a very horrible Sophie's choice he had to make. So Bon grows up and goes on to try and steal the Fountain of Youth, ending up in the Fairy King's forest where he meets the guardian of the Fountain of Youth and falls in love, only for the forest and his lady to be destroyed by a demon and the Fountain of Youth to be forcibly snowballed into his mouth. Also, turns out this chick is Harlequin's sister, and he's the Fairy King, who also just goes by King, making this his forest, which ties Bon and King together well before they join the Seven Deadly Sins, hence their fight when King finds out about his sister's fate, and hence the statue, sponsorship, look at that. But you see what I mean? It's one of those stories where everyone is connected in the background and the dots are slowly drawn together, giving the audience a consistent injection of that, ah, I get it now. Or even more accurately, oh shit sensation. Essentially, the more you watch, the more you're rewarded for doing so, for the most part. You know me, I'm not gonna lie to you about anything, and 7DS has some glaring flaws. Or maybe it's more like inconsistencies. For example, King and Diane have this love thing that's been going on for like 700 years, and it's kind of obnoxious. Like, you just want them to get it over with, and I get that it's anime and nobody ever gets it over with, but in Seven Deadly Sins in particular, something always gets in the way, like to the point that it is obvious that it's being dragged out on purpose. And honestly, love in general is pretty poorly portrayed in 7DS. Either that or it's perfectly portrayed because it's cringe. Especially in this one scene where Bon and Meliodas are arguing over whose girlfriend is better. It's like, I went from a pretty rad gory action segment to hoping nobody walks into my room so I don't have to explain why I'm watching a kid's show. Which, mind you, this show is not a kid's show. I mean, for fuck's sake, I don't even know if I can put Merlin in this video because of her attire, which I personally appreciate. I'm just saying, it's not a kid's show. But like I said, there is a lot to unwrap beneath the surface if you're willing to look past the glaring flaws and butts and boobies that are thrown into your face on every other scene. For being a typically and lighthearted happy show, the backstories of nearly every character are dripping with pain and sorrow and suffering, just awfulness. I've already talked about the interconnecting dots between Bon and King, but their pasts also affect how they act in the future. King's sin, sloth for spending 700 years essentially disregarding his duties as Fairy King, makes him incredibly quick to act, often to a fault. We see it earliest when he judges Bon for his sister's death before understanding the full story, but he does the same thing later on with Meliodas as well, withholding trust previously freely given before understanding the full story, even though he's known the captain for like over 20 years. We often see the sins countering the sin that they were given to the point that it's a detriment to their character. Bon, again the fox sin of greed, certainly describes Bon's early life as a thief, but when you look at his character throughout the show, there's really only one thing that he wants, which is to be with Elaine, and he can't be, which leaves him feeling empty to the point he literally seeks out pain just to feel something. something. And honestly, that's gotta explain the pants. Meanwhile, Meliodas is the Dragon Sin of Wrath, yet we almost never see him get angry early on. That's because he's super afraid of his anger and the damage that it can cause, so he unhealthily locks it away, and with it the vast majority of his power. I mean, besides the stuff that was stolen by Merlin, but that's like a whole other thing. You gotta watch the show. Nearly every one of the 7 deadly sins heavily overcompensates for their attributed sin. And it's not just the main characters, but everyone in the show seems to bear an unsolvable cross from their past that haunts them. I think everybody with a personality has something in their past that they're not proud of that we never really get over. Part of the intrigue in the show is seeing characters with inexcusable past decisions and mistakes try to rise to the occasion in order to atone for them. And also what color of pantsuit that Elizabeth was wearing that day. And even if they don't necessarily succeed, it allows for the idea that we can be good people even if we've done bad things. Of course, we'll be judged for our actions. We get judged for all of them, not just the really bad ones. And through doing good over and over, we can slowly redeem ourselves. You know, unless you eat people. I don't know if there's a way to come back from eating people. Our actions in the present do not always fix our mistakes in the past, but a change in how we act reflects a change in character. So while 7 Deadly Sins is a fan service fest of wiggly tigglies, as well as a mix of convoluted, poorly portrayed love stories. Honestly, the writing isn't that bad, but god damn that dialogue. It's important to remember that a sin is simply one thing that happened one time. Life and time together are these ongoing, convalescing experiences that wave, ups and downs, sins and good deeds. That's a part of life. But those mistakes along the way do not define who you are unless you let them. We are all capable of becoming the change we want as long as we don't let one moment in our lives define us. But just don't text and drive, because if you run an old lady over like Tessa did, you may be able to move away, but everyone from high school's gotta remember. Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Mike. I just want to send a very special shout out to Figurama Collectors for being cool and sponsoring the video this week. Do not forget to set your alarms for Monday, November 23rd at 9 a.m. to make sure you get your first pick of those pre-orders and use code BPOP7DS for $20 off. As always, special shout out to our Super Saiyan God, that is Bus, and our super lucky patron 711. My name is Mike, this is Bonsai Pop. If you like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and let us know. And if you want to see more, subscribe. And if you're not sure if you want to subscribe yet, go watch every single other video we've ever made because they're all really good, I promise. Thank you so much, and I will see you on Saturday.